February 25, 2026. Iran's foreign minister was sitting across from American diplomats in Geneva, Switzerland for peace talks, and a deal, by all accounts, was within reach. 3 days later, American bombs fell on Tehran. Over 1,000 civilians were dead. A girls' school in southern Iran reduced to rubble. 165 children, most of them between 7 and 12 years old, killed in a single strike. When asked about the incident from Donald Trump on the killing of civilians, he blamed Iran that they bombed their own people using a Tomahawk missile.
Did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 175 people?
In my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Hegseth? It was Iran who did that?
We're certainly investigating.
Still investigating.
But the only side that targets civilians is Iran.
Which was later discovered that Iran doesn't have Tomahawk missiles.
Donald Trump's a liar. He claims that Iranian Tomahawk missiles were responsible for the bombing of an all-girls school that unfortunately killed 170 people, many of them children. Iran doesn't have Tomahawk missiles. The claim is beyond asinine. It's just an outright lie.
Pentagon's own internal investigation quietly concludes it was their missile, their outdated intelligence, their mistake. The world is still trying to answer one question: was this war unavoidable, or was it a choice? In 1953, the United States and Britain engineered a coup that removed Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, because he tried to nationalize Iran's oil. That single act planted a seed of distrust that has never gone away. In 2015, the Obama administration signed the Iran nuclear deal. Iran complied fully. But in 2018, Trump tore it up and reimposed devastating sanctions. Iran's economy collapsed. Its currency became almost worthless. Then came June 2025. A 12-day conflict between Israel and Iran. Israeli and American strikes devastated Iran's air defenses, nuclear facilities, and military infrastructure. Iran was weakened, but not broken. By December 2025, Iran's streets were on fire. The largest protests since the 1979 revolution. Millions demanding change. The government responded with mass arrests. Casualties were also reported. And then, with peace talks already in process scheduled in Vienna for the very next week, the bombs started falling out of nowhere. The Trump administration's most urgent claim is that Iran was dangerously close to building a nuclear weapon. Trump's chief negotiator, Steve Witkoff, stated publicly Iran was just 1 week away from weapons-grade bomb-making material. And days before the strikes, the IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog, discovered that Iran had secretly hidden highly enriched uranium in an underground facility that survived previous bombings. Trump also argued Iran was developing ballistic missiles capable of striking American troops, European allies, and eventually the United States itself. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated the goal is to destroy Iran's missile stockpile, its ability to produce them, and also its ability to launch them. US and Israel has claimed for decades that Iran built and funded proxy armies across the entire region. Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias across Iraq and Syria. The US argued eliminating Iranian leadership was the only way to permanently dismantle this network. And also, Trump pointed to the violent crackdown on Iranian protesters in late 2025. The regime responded to demonstrations with live ammunition and mass arrests. Trump framed the military operation not as an invasion, but as liberation. On the other side, Iran has made arguments that are backed by documented evidence that is very difficult to ignore. On February 25th, just 72 hours before the first bombs fell, Iran's foreign minister stated that a historic agreement was within reach. Oman, playing its role as the neutral mediator, confirmed substantial progress, and a fourth round of talks was already scheduled for Vienna the following week. Iran was not preparing for war. Its diplomats were preparing for a deal. But the bombs fell on Tehran 3 days later. Iran consistently maintained its nuclear program was for civilian energy, not weapons. And under Article 4 of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, an agreement the US itself signed, every member nation has the explicit legal right to peaceful nuclear energy, including uranium enrichment. Even the IAEA's own Director General stated just before the strikes there was no proof Iran was building an atomic bomb.
Clearly, in that report that preceded these dramatic events and the attack, that we did not find in Iran elements to indicate that there is an active, systematic plan to build a nuclear weapon.
Iran's argument is straightforward. You cannot punish a country for the consequences of a deal you yourself violated. Iran complied fully with the JCPOA. America walked away in 2018 without cause. When Iran expanded its nuclear program afterward, it was responding to American betrayal, not making a first move. At the United Nations, Iran's position was unambiguous. This war was launched without a UN Security Council mandate, without congressional authorization, and without any international coalition. Russia called it a brazen violation of the UN Charter. China called it an illegal use of military force. Now here is what we are not watching. The US Defense Intelligence Agency's own 2025 report stated clearly Iran had no missiles capable of reaching the United States, and was a full decade away from producing them. On the first day of this war, a strike destroyed a girls' school in Minab, southern Iran. 165 children killed. Trump said Iran did it. But Bellingcat, BBC Verify, The New York Times, NPR, and Al Jazeera all independently confirmed it was a US Tomahawk missile. And the Pentagon's own preliminary investigation found the cause. They were using targeting maps that hadn't been updated in over a decade. The school had been separated from the Urjik base next door by a fence built in 2016. The Pentagon didn't know, because no one had updated the map. Trump's biggest justification for this war was that Iranians don't have freedom and want to be liberated by America. Before the war, millions were protesting against the regime. That was real. But what happened after the moment the bombs started falling was totally different from this. Iranians, even those who hated their own government, began uniting against the foreign attack. From the Minab school strike, to oil depot bombings sending toxic black rain across a city of 9 million, to Trump openly discussing redrawing Iran's borders, all of it is being read inside Iran not as liberation, but as an attack on their nation. US intelligence itself concluded the Islamic Republic is not close to buckling. The regime did not collapse, and the streets that were once full of anti-government protesters are now full of people chanting against America. The people Trump claims to be fighting for are not unified behind this war.
And we are here to show this. They think that by killing us we will be afraid, that by dropping bombs on our heads we will be afraid. No, we stand by our country.
The proud people of Iran have shown the oppressive and arrogant powers of the world that the wall of oppression can be broken. Today, with their presence in different squares, the people showed that it is possible to overcome injustice and break the wall of oppression.
This war is not staying inside Iran's borders. Iranian missiles and drones have struck targets across 9 countries. The American embassy in Riyadh was hit. A British airbase runway in Cyprus was damaged. Iran has restricted the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow passage through which 20% of the world's entire daily oil supply travels. Prices have already surged past $100 a barrel. Here is where things stand. A war is being fought with no clear definition of what victory looks like. No agreed endpoint, no plan for what comes after. The Supreme Leader is dead. His own son replaced him within days. The IRK is still fighting. US intelligence says the regime is not collapsing. And the Iranian people who Trump said wanted liberation are increasingly rallying behind their nation, not behind American bombs. Iran was 72 hours away from scheduled peace talks in Vienna. The bombs fell anyway. Whether that was right or catastrophically wrong, history will be the judge.